We have some great news coming out of Washington, D.C. Senator Ted Cruz has filed Senate Joint Resolution 2. This resolution is supported by U.S. term limits. This is Holly Robichaud for Breaking News with Term Limits. Please stay tuned for each week's episode. We'll be giving you the latest updates on how we are working day and night to pass term limits on Congress. I hope you'll join us. Senator Ted Cruz has filed Senate Joint Resolution 2. This resolution is supported by U.S. term limits. When passed by Congress and ratified by the states, it would limit representatives to 3 terms or 6 years and senators to 2 terms or 12 years. The proposed amendment would require ratification of 38 states in order to become part of the Constitution. We're urging you to contact your senators and tell them to support Senate Joint Resolution 2. Don't forget, February 27th is National Term Limits Day. Remember, that's the day that commemorates the ratification of the 22nd Amendment in 1951 that imposes term limits on the President of the United States. If it's good enough for the President, then it's good enough for Congress. Don't you agree? We need your help. So don't forget to call your representatives and call your senators and ask them to support term limits. It's time to take back our country. We're pleased with the progress we're making in the states. In Tennessee, Arizona, Kentucky, New Hampshire, Oklahoma, and South Dakota, legislation has been filed. In Ohio, Utah, Montana, Idaho, Maine, and Indiana, we're getting ready to drop the legislation. This week's poster child for why we need term limits is going to be Congresswoman Lori Trahan. When she first ran for office, she deposited at the last moment a huge sum of money into her campaign account. The only problem is that she didn't have the personal funds to do that. Trahan got caught and had to spend $400,000 on legal advice because her husband shifted assets to fund her campaign. In that campaign, she promised to support term limits, and she's broken that promise. That's why we've launched billboards in her district to hold her accountable and let her constituents know that she doesn't keep her promises. Now it's time for the Term Limits Hall of Shame. U.S. Representative Young Kim of California signed the U.S. Term Limits Pledge when running for office. Her support for term limits was critical to her narrow 2022 election victory. And guess what? Now that she's won, she's broken the pledge and is not supporting the U.S. Term Limits Amendment. Shame on her. We're running billboards in her district right now, letting her constituents know that she has broken her pledge. That's not acceptable. Let her know. Congressional term limits can become a reality, but we can't do it without you. Go to termlimits.org to find out how you can help in your state. Sign up to join our volunteer list. And be sure to like U.S. Term Limits Breaking News and invite your friends to watch us. This is Holly Robichaud with U.S. Term Limits Breaking News, and we'll be back to you next week.